Finding your calling is not reserved for the lucky few who stumble upon it by accident. It is a process, one that can be broken down, examined, and followed with intention. Whether someone is at the very beginning of their career or in the middle of a professional pivot, the same four questions tend to cut through the noise and point toward what truly matters. Below is a practical framework built around those four questions, followed by a powerful tool to help turn that self-knowledge into a concrete direction. Step 1. Interests. What captures your attention? The first question to ask is simple. What are you genuinely interested in? A good place to start is by looking at how you naturally spend your time when no one is watching and nothing is required of you. Social media, for all its drawbacks, can actually be a useful mirror here. Look at who you follow, what videos you keep returning to, and what kind of content holds your attention beyond mindless scrolling. There is usually a pattern hiding in plain sight. Go further than that. Think about where your free time goes. Do you spend evenings reading about a particular subject? Do you find yourself deep in online forums about a specific hobby or industry? Do you gravitate towards certain podcasts, documentaries, or books without anyone recommending them to you? Take a person who, without any professional reason, has spent years following entrepreneurs and startup stories online. They read founder interviews for fun. They analyze business models as a hobby. They watch documentary series about companies the way others watch sports. That consistent pull toward a subject, long before any career ambition attached itself to it, is a signal worth taking seriously. Write down everything that comes to mind. Do not filter or second guess. The goal at this stage is simply to make the invisible visible. Step 2. Energy. What fills you up? The second question goes deeper. What gives you energy? This is distinct from what you are merely good at, or what others expect from you. Energy here means that specific feeling of being lit up, the state where time moves differently, where ideas come easily, where you feel motivated rather than drained. Some people feel this when they are teaching or explaining something to others. Others feel it when they are building or creating something from scratch. For some, it comes from solving complex problems. For others, from connecting with people or organizing systems that were previously chaotic. Think about a graphic designer who, after a decade in their field, realized that the work itself had never truly energized them, but the conversations they had with clients about their goals, fears, and growth absolutely did. That energy, showing up consistently in a corner of a job they found unfulfilling, turned out to be pointing directly toward coaching and consulting. Pay attention to these signals. Make a second list. Moments, activities, and topics that have consistently given you energy, even briefly. Include things from different areas of your life: work, hobbies, relationships, learning. Energy does not lie. Step 3. Generosity. What would you do for free? The third question is perhaps the most honest filter of all. What are you willing to do without being paid? Not as a long-term strategy, everyone needs to earn a living, but as a test of genuine passion. If you would engage with something in your spare time, invest your own money into it, and pursue it without any guarantee of a return, that is a strong signal that something meaningful is present. Consider someone who spends their weekends teaching neighbors how to cook, writing detailed recipe notes that no one asked for, and researching culinary techniques purely out of curiosity. They are not being paid. No one is grading them. They do it because they cannot help themselves. That voluntary, self-directed investment of time and energy is one of the clearest indicators of where a person's calling might lie. This question cuts through a lot of noise because it bypasses external validation entirely. It asks, stripped of money, status, and expectation, what would you still choose to do? Step 4. Impact. Who or what changed your life? The fourth question is the most powerful of all. Who or what helped you make a significant leap at some point in your life? Think back to a moment when something shifted, when a book, a person, a video, a conversation, or an experience took your thinking or your life to a genuinely new level. It might have been a mentor who saw potential in you. It could have been a community that gave you belonging when you needed it. It might have been a piece of content that reframed how you saw the world. Now ask yourself, what did that helper do exactly? What was the nature of their contribution? And here is the key insight. The areas where we have been most deeply helped are often the areas where we most want to help others. A person who struggled for years with anxiety and eventually found relief through therapy and mindfulness often finds themselves drawn toward mental health advocacy or becoming a therapist themselves. Someone who felt lost during a career transition and was guided through it by a mentor frequently becomes the kind of person who mentors others going through the same thing. The help we received tends to shape the help we most want to give. Write down who or what made the greatest difference in your life at a critical moment. Then ask, is there a version of that role that you could play for someone else? Finding the parallels. Once you have worked through all 4 steps, lay your lists side by side and look for patterns. You are not searching for a single perfect answer that satisfies every column simultaneously. That is rarely how it works. Instead, you are looking for threads, activities, or themes that appear in more than one list, subjects that show up under both interests and energy. Areas where what you would do for free connects to the kind of impact you most want to have. Those intersections are where a calling tends to live. Some areas will show up once and fade. Others will keep reappearing across different lists, in different forms. Pay attention to those. They are not coincidences. The next step. Study people who are already there. Once a direction begins to emerge, the most powerful thing to do next is to find 5 people or organizations who are already doing that work and who are genuinely successful at it. The goal is not to copy them. It is to study their paths. Where did they start? What did they do in the early stages? What skills did they develop along the way? What mistakes did they make, and what decisions proved pivotal? Where are they now? This exercise works because success leaves patterns. The people who have already turned their passion into meaningful, sustainable work have already solved many of the problems that will come up on the same journey. They have figured out how to build the skills, find the audience, and create value in a way that supports them financially. By studying their trajectories, it becomes possible to see a realistic map, not a guaranteed one, but a real one, of how a similar path might unfold. For example, someone who has identified a passion for personal finance education might study 5 creators, educators, or advisors who have built audiences and businesses in that space. By analyzing where each of them started, often with no audience, no credentials, and a simple desire to share what they knew, and tracing how they grew, it becomes far less abstract to imagine a starting point for oneself. The key is to look at beginnings, not just outcomes. Most people only see where successful people are now, which can make the gap feel impossible. Looking at where they started makes it feel like a series of concrete steps. Writing your mission, after completing this process, try to distill everything into a single mission statement. It does not need to be polished, it just needs to be honest. A simple structure that works well is, I help who to do what, so that what outcome or impact. For example, I help first-generation professionals navigate the corporate world so that they can build careers that reflect their full potential. Or, I help people rediscover physical health so that they can show up more fully in every other area of their lives. This statement becomes an anchor. It gives direction to decisions about what to create, who to work with, and how to spend time and energy. Importantly, the mission does not need to be final. In fact, it almost certainly will not be. As experience accumulates and perspective deepens, the mission will naturally evolve. It may broaden or narrow. It may shift in tone or focus. That is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of growth. The goal is to start somewhere honest and let the mission develop alongside the journey. Conclusion: finding a calling is rarely a single moment of revelation. It is more often the result of honest self-examination, pattern recognition, and a willingness to take the first step before everything is clear. The 4 questions in this framework: what interests you, what energizes you, what you would do for free, and who helped you most, are not magic, but they cut through the noise of external expectations and get to something real. Combined with the practice of studying people who are already living the life you feel drawn toward, they provide both direction and evidence that the path is walkable. Start there. Write the mission. Take the first step. The clarity that feels elusive at the beginning tends to arrive somewhere along the road, not before it.